Supreme Court strikes a suit by the President and the Attorney General against the National Assembly, challenging the legality of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. INEC says it may consider extending the deadline for voter registration as it releases particulars of candidates for the 2023 general elections. Akpabio, Lawan, Umahi are names missing on the list. A total of 227 soldiers recommended for punishment, including dismissal, following a general and special court-martial set up to try cases of misconduct in the military.
And on business news tonight, Federation Accounts Allocation Committee shares over 680 billion naira revenue to the 3 tiers of government in May.
On sports news tonight, Super Falcons coach Randy Waldrum picks 25 players to represent Nigeria at the 12th Women's Africa Cup of Nations.
And from Abuja, at least 22 people kidnapped as gunmen attack Rafindaji community in the Federal Capital Territory.
In international news from London, the US Senate has passed a gun control bill, the most significant piece of firearms legislation for nearly 30 years.
We begin tonight with the landmark judgment at the Supreme Court, which has struck out a suit instituted by the President against the National Assembly, challenging the legality of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. The court held that President Buhari, having assented to the bill on February 25th, 2022, cannot turn around to challenge the same act. In a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Agim, the Apex Court held that allowing the suit to have its way will amount to approbating and reprobating at the same time, and an abuse of the court process.
It was a scanty courtroom as the Supreme Court put to rest the suit filed by President Muhammadu Buhari and the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Abubakar Malami, asking for an order compelling the National Assembly to delete Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act on the grounds that the section is unconstitutional, illegal, and discriminatory. There have been several debates regarding Section 84, subsection 12 of the amended Electoral Act 2022, which was assented to on the 25th of February 2022 by the President. Upon assenting to the Act, President Buhari had asked the National Assembly to delete the contentious clause. However, Parliament declined the President's request. Meanwhile, one Mr. Nduka Edede approached the Federal High Court in Umuahia, Abia State, seeking the deletion of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act on the 18th of March 2022. Thereafter, the court ordered the AGF to delete the amended section of the Act. Dissatisfied with the court verdict, federal lawmakers challenged the decision at the Court of Appeal. And on the 11th of May 2022, a three-man panel of justices led by Justice Hamma Baraka held that the Federal High Court Umuahia had no jurisdiction to have entertained the case, since the plaintiff, Mr. Nduka Edede, lacked the local standi to have filed the suit in the first instance. However, the appellate court wants the Supreme Court to provide interpretation in the suit. Nevertheless, President Muhammadu Buhari and Mr. Malami approached the Apex Court seeking the deletion of Section 84, subsection 12. In taking a decision on the matter, the seven-man panel of the Apex Court unanimously stated that the President lacked the jurisdiction to bring the suit before it because of the nature of the relief sought. The Apex Court's justices also held that having earlier assented to the section, the President cannot turn around to approach the court to strike it out, explaining that the President's request amounts to constitutional violation. The justices add that the suit cannot be entertained by the Apex Court under Section 1, subsection 1A of the Additional Jurisdiction of the Supreme Court Act.
I cannot but to salute the courage, the industry of my noble lord for doing justice to this matter. Cases do come. We have filed our reaction, and my noble lords agree with our reactions to the point that this is not the kind of the matter that should be brought to the Supreme Court, particularly where the President happened to be the part of the maker of that law. You can't appropriate at the same time to be appropriating. You cannot be seen to have done something and at the same time turn around to ask that what you have done should be set aside in this kind of procedure.
The Supreme Court have delivered their judgments, and being the apex court, everybody is bound by it. Unfortunately, the merit of the case was not determined. The objections of the defendant was upheld, where the first and second defendant were held not to have sufficient locus to bring the action and to invoke the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court on the matter. And well, having made that point, they felt there was no need for them to determine the merit of the case, which is on the constitutionality of Section 84(12) of the Constitution, of the Electoral Act.
Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act holds that no political appointee at any level shall be a voting delegate or be voted for at a convention or congress of any political party for the purpose of nomination of candidates for any election.
There have been more reactions to the Supreme Court ruling striking out the president's suit on the Electoral Act 2022. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Paul Ananaba, explains that the Supreme Court dismissal of the president's suit is indeed an indication that the suit is an abuse of judicial process. He further explains that the National Assembly has the right to make laws, and the law that was in contention was not about the president.
Suddenly there's an action where the president now sues the National Assembly. So you will see that it's not a competent suit. Now, Section 84(12) has nothing to do with the president. It has nothing to do with the president. It has nothing to do with the federation. It's just a simple provision of a legislation which the president signed on the 25th of February this year. So today is 24th. So it is even less than 4 months. And we've already gone to Supreme Court and gotten a judgment. So that's the point. The Supreme Court is saying the action is incompetent. It's an abuse of process. And when you hear abuse of process, it has many dimensions. It is when you file an action which is improper, you have abused that process. One of them is forum shopping. Assuming that there would have been need for such action, it would have been action filed by those affected, those political appointees by Section 84(12). Those are the people who could have gone to court. And if they had gone to court to challenge Section 84(12), then it wouldn't have been an original suit, a suit where the Supreme Court has original jurisdiction at all. That's what the Supreme Court is saying. So asking the Supreme Court to apply the blue pencil rule and strike out Section 84(12) cannot hold water. The Supreme Court is saying the National Assembly has powers to make laws. The presidency cannot dictate to the National Assembly on how it makes laws. So gradually we are going deepening our democracy by judicial interpretation, which is what many of us have been urging, that the Supreme Court should step up, our courts should step up and give this type of judgments that deepens our democracy.
In other developments, the Independent National Electoral Commission has released the list and particulars of candidates vying for various positions at the federal level in the 2023 general elections. However, the list does not contain the names of former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi, and Senate President Ahmed Lawan. And meanwhile, against the backdrop of the huge number of people seeking to be registered by the INEC, the Commission says it is disposed to extending the deadline for the ongoing continuous voter registration from its initial closing date, which is June 30.
The Commission had previously scheduled the continuous voters registration exercise to end on the 30th day of June 2022. But on the 20th day of June 2022, the Honorable Justice Mobolaji Olajuwon of the Federal High Court restrained the Independent National Electoral Commission from ending the voters registration process on the 30th day of June or any other date, pending the hearing and determination of a motion on notice that has been filed. And that motion on notice is coming up on the 29th day of June 2022. But as I pointed out, the Commission is favorably disposed towards an extension of the period for this registration. But that will only be announced by the Honorable Chairman at the end of the conclusion of the matter that is before the court. This registration will continue pending the time the matter in court is disposed of. This registration will continue because this commission is favorably disposed to an extension of the registration period. But this registration period will not be extended up to the 60 days people are asking for. If we do that, it will do violence to our timetable. It will also do violence to the desire of Nigerians to have a permanent voters card with which they can vote during the 2023 general election.
Since losing the presidential ticket of the People's Democratic Party, some political leaders have been paying visits to the River State Governor, Nyesom Wike. The latest guest is the former governor of Kano State and presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Rabiu Kwakwanso. They had a closed-door meeting soon after he arrived at the governor's residence. Governor Wike also received other guests, including former governor of Ekiti State and presidential aspirant of the People's Democratic Party, Ayo Fayose, and former Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Muhammad Adoke. Staying with preparations for next year's general elections, the African Democratic Congress has unveiled Ms. Tonto Dike as the deputy governorship candidate of the party for Rivers State. The national chairman of the party, Mr. Ralph Okenwosu, who unveiled Ms. Dike as at the headquarters of the party in Abuja, said the youths of Nigeria deserve to lead this country. He also presented certificates of return to the governorship candidate, Mr. Tonte Braye, and Ms. Dike, with a mandate to win the River State governorship seat.
People don't trust themselves, and the governors we have are merchants who are doing business. They don't know that they are sitting there as a state officer. And state officer, number one and number two, have almost equal right to take charge at any given time. But that kind of politics must change. As you are aware, ADC is out to ensure that democracy is practiced in this country in the right way that it should be. It happened in Abeokuta, where 2,050 delegates, without anybody urging them, decided to vote the way they voted. That's democracy in action. Clear democracy. Some people may not like it, but we are in a constitutional democracy. In a constitutional democracy, you must allow diversity of opinion. What has happened, as far as our party is concerned, is exactly that.
In part two, after the break, at least 22 people kidnapped as gunmen attack a Rafindaji community in the Federal Capital Territory. That's in a moment. You join us again. Welcome back. If it has joined us, watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Supreme Court strikes suit by the President and the Attorney General against the National Assembly, challenging the legality of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. INEC says it may consider extending the deadline for voter registration as it releases particulars of candidates for the 2023 general elections. Akpabio, Lawan, Umahi's names missing from the list. A total of 227 soldiers recommended for punishment, including dismissal following a general and special court-martial set up to try cases of misconduct in the military. And millions of women in the U.S. to lose abortion right as the country's Supreme Court overturns a 50-year-old judgment. A federal lawmaker, Senator Smart Adeyemi, says senators will not abandon Senator Ike Ekweremadu, who is facing charges in the United Kingdom court alongside his wife, Beatrice. Reacting to allegations of organ harvesting leveled against the former Deputy Senate President and his wife, Senator Adeyemi said some of the lawmakers are making efforts to reach out to him. He said there is still a lot of unknown aspects of the case, hence the need to proceed with caution and not be quick to condemn Senator Ekweremadu. The London Metropolitan Police remanded Senator Ekweremadu and his wife after arraigning them for conspiring to bring a child to the UK for organ harvesting.
This issue is most unfortunate. It's something that is very disturbing to all of us in the Senate, because he's one of us, but more importantly is the fact that I know him to be a man of great values, a man of great strength of character, a man with very high moral foundation. But having said this, I think it's too early to start apportioning blame as to whether he is guilty or is not guilty. All of us who are colleagues, we are feeling the pains. We are standing with Ike Ekweremadu on this. We will not abandon him to this. Effort is being made by quite a number of senators to see what we can do by way of giving moral support and any other support that is required. But the case, we want to get the full details of this case, because the issues are that the victim was not of age, that he was below 18 years of old age, so he could not be seen to have the right of determining as to whether he could offer his organs for someone else. But if he's of age, it means he knew what he was going into, and the principle of law of volunteer non-fit injuria will now come into it, that he knew what he was going into as at the time he did that.
227 soldiers have been recommended for a range of punishments, including dismissal, following a general and special court-martial set up by the military to try various cases of misconduct. According to the theatre commander of Operation Hadinkai, Major General Christopher Musa, 4 soldiers have been recommended for dismissal. 30 others are to face imprisonment. A court-martial also recommended 25 personnel for reduction of rank and loss of seniority, 20 for loss of pay, while 17 are to face severe reprimand. 10 soldiers were discharged and acquitted, 14 cases were struck out, while 107 were recommended for summary trial. The confirming authority for the soldiers rests on the Chief of Army Staff, while the Army Council will ratify the officers before the implementation of decisions made at the court-martial. Now, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has been making clarifications on the seizure of multi-billion naira cash, dollars, Rolex watches stockpiled in an Abuja property. A statement by the Commission's spokesperson, Azuka Ogugwa, explains the ICPC operatives raided a property in Wuse 2 in Abuja yesterday between 5 p.m. and 12 midnight on suspicion of money laundering. It says facts available for the time being indicate the property is owned by K. Salam Construction Company Nigeria Limited, a military contractor. According to the Commission, monies and other items from the property, including customized mobile phones, several designer wristwatches, and some property documents were seized. It adds that the managing director of K. Salam Construction Company Nigeria Limited, Mr. Kabiru Salau, was arrested, and investigation is ongoing on the allegations against him. And here's Linda with more on the news at 10. Hi, Linda.
Hello, Amarachi. We begin with security issues. At least 22 people have been abducted from Rafindaji community after gunmen attacked the area in the Federal Capital Territory. The FCT police explains that the victims are mostly farmers. The acting police public relations officer Oduni Omotayo told Channels Television that the incident happened at the boundary community between Niger State and the FCT at the time the farmers were cultivating their farmland. He said a combined team of security personnel have been deployed to the area and are combing it to rescue the kidnapped victims. An eyewitness who is one of those in the farm said he escaped by the whiskers when the incident happened at about 2 o'clock on Thursday. He said the gunmen have contacted the families but were yet to make any demands. Religion and ethnicity must not be allowed to drive wedges between Nigerians for any political gain. This call was made by the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde when the leadership of the Nigerian Interreligious Council paid him a visit in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. The team, led by both the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria and Sultan of Sokoto, are in the state to engage major religious stakeholders on the need for continued peaceful coexistence.
The Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminent Alhaji Saad Abubakar III, the President, Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Dr. Shukwa Ayokule, and other members of Nigeria Interreligious Council and Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, for the quarterly meeting. The forum is to find solutions to insecurity and numerous ethnic challenges facing Nigerians. NIREC, as the apex interreligious body in Nigeria, has been making efforts to ensure harmony. The CAN president says there's religious harmony in Oyo State and that people had been living together in an atmosphere of peace and tranquility.
We have been discussing so many things in our meetings, things that would have led to crisis in the nation. We trashed in our meetings, and it has contributed to the religious peace in the nation. I and the co-chairman, the Sultan of Sokoto, have always advocated dialogue.
His Eminence, Saad Abubakar III, commended Governor Makinde for uplifting the state by taking it to greater heights.
Because we keep on requesting our people to understand one another, not to tolerate one another. If you tolerate me, there's nothing you can do to me. Because you tolerate me and I can go my way, you can go your way. But if you understand me, you can come close to me and we work together. And that will be a better way to live as one big family.
This visit is most apt as political campaigns could take the collaboration of both religion and ethnicity as Nigerians have had in the past. But the governor insists this must not be allowed again to divide Nigeria.
So we need people like you to speak out in order to douse tension at this time and in order to nudge the nation in a direction of progress. Well, we're not really, we're evaluating the candidates on the basis of what they can offer Nigeria.
The quarterly interreligious meeting is targeted at soothing frayed nerves and put issues in proper perspective to prevent unscrupulous elements from taking undue advantage of religious sentiments to cause chaos, especially as the elections approach.
In other stories, a 16-year-old boy, Uzaru Salisu, has lost his sight after his eyes were said to have been removed in Dutsingira of Yelwa area of Bauchi State. The boy was found lying helpless at a farm where he was lured to for a menial job before the unfortunate incident. Meanwhile, the Bauchi State Commissioner of Police, Umar Sanda, has given assurances that everything will be done to arrest the culprit and bring him to book. Our correspondent, Hajara Aliyu, reports.
As at Thursday morning, Uzeiru Salisu could see the world around him, but by evening, he lost his ability to see. He was deprived of this precious gift by a man who allegedly lured him to a farm to work. Salisu, is an Almajiri who came to Bauchi more than a decade ago from Katsina State. He is now at the ophthalmology department of the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital, where he receives treatment. He says he woke up unconscious to the new reality.
He strangled me with a cable, but I fought back, and while I was trying to escape, I tripped on a stone and fell. That was how he got hold of me.
The chief nurse of the eye clinic describes his condition.
He will never ever see again because the eyeball has been destroyed already. It has been damaged. Now what is remaining for us to do is he is going to undergo surgery so that they will do evisceration, what we call evisceration, because the person that removed the eye is not an expert, so he did not do it in an expert way. There are some particles, other things that remains for the surgeon to remove so that it will not be infected.
The police has since launched an investigation into the incident with a promise that the boy will get justice.
We believe with the description the boy has given us, although he has complained vividly that he has no eyes now, he cannot see nothing, but he told us how the man's look is, and we are working tirelessly to make sure that we get across to the man.
A relative of Salisu says the family is saddened by the news and can barely afford medical bills at the moment.
We're appealing to the government to save the boy's life because his parents cannot foot the bills.
Salisu is now faced with a grim reality, and the pain he feels can only be imagined. Hajira Aliyu, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Federation Accounts Allocation Committee shares over 680 billion naira revenue to the 3 tiers of government for the month of May. That's in business news. Join us again.
Welcome back. 570 prospective beneficiaries of the COVID-19 Action, Recovery and Economic Stimulus in Kogi State have been asked to utilize the grant given to them to boost their businesses. The head of the delivery platform for social grant KG Cares, Falilat Razak, stated this in Lokoja, the state capital, at a one-day training organized for prospective beneficiaries. According to her, the grant of 150,000 naira to each of them will boost their businesses impacted by the outbreak of COVID-19 in 2019.
Cushioning the effects of COVID-19 pandemic is the sole aim of this intervention, which is under the state's COVID-19 Action, Recovery and Economic Stimulus, KG Cares, initiated by the federal and state government in collaboration with the World Bank to mitigate the impact of the pandemic on the livelihood of poor individuals, farmers, vulnerable households and owners of micro and small enterprises. The beneficiaries of the grants are drawn from the 21 local government areas of Kogi State. Before disbursement of the fund to the individuals, they are first trained on how they will utilize the money to boost their businesses. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, commends Governor Yahaya Bello for initiating a program that will assist small and medium businesses, as she challenges the beneficiaries to utilize the grant to improve their businesses.
I want to thank the federal government that initiated this program and transfer it to Kogi State government to assist every one of you. Like all the desk officers and those who have enlightened you on why this program is being organized today, is to help you. If you are a man, whatever is given to you and the trade you are doing, use it judiciously to help your family.
The head of the delivery platform gives an overview of the Kogi Cares, while the monitoring and evaluation officer educates the beneficiaries.
For us in Kogi State, even though we did not record death, we didn't record cases of COVID, but it was recorded all over other states. And as a result of that, the economy of Nigeria was badly affected because of that COVID.
Una know say na Ogayaya, our pata governor, na inside collect this money. Where we won't give now. Although na free we they give now, but the government they pay the money back. So they go send monitoring team where go come check wetin na they use that money do. If na not use am well, na don't enter wahala be that.
With the disbursement, it is expected that at the end of the program, the fund will go a long way to assist the beneficiaries to re-establish their businesses.
To some company news now. Between 2022 and 2025, Odua Investment Company is projecting a profit of 40 billion naira. That's according to the company's new board chairman, Mr. Bimbo Ashiru. He was speaking during the company's 40th annual general meeting, where a dividend of 418.4 million naira was declared.
The arrival of the chairman of the Southwest Governors Forum kickstart the proceeding for the 40th annual general meeting of the Odua Investment Company Limited in Lagos. The company, with all 6 states in the southwest region of Nigeria as shareholders, this gathering is to do an appraisal of its performance in the year ended December 31st, 2021.
Odua Investment's revenue grew from 3.84 billion naira in 2020 to 4.01 billion in 2021. Your company's total assets also grew to 110 billion from the 2020 figure of 104 billion.
This AGM is the third and the last for Dr. Segun Aino as the chairman of the board. He hands over the baton to Otumba Bimbo Ashiru.
It was deliberate to select people in this as board members to change the fortune of this company. And we thank you for what you are doing and what you have done. We thank God that we did not make a mistake.
There are assurances of support from shareholders.
We in Ogun State are very deeply committed to the cause of Odua and to what Odua is established to achieve.
Since its establishment in 1976, the company has invested in hospitality, energy, agriculture, logistics, real estate, and more.
There's a development we are doing with a partner in Ikoyi already, which is 18 luxury apartments comprising of 5-bedroom duplexes, 5-bedroom semi-detaches, detached buildings, as well as what we can call terrace building.
The new board chairman gives a clue of what investors should expect in a few years.
We are trying to bring Odua back to the stage, and you could see what we have done in terms of the profitability. We've increased our profit to about 150% from last year. So, and our target in the next 5 years, by 2025, we should be beating a minimum of 40 billion naira.
At the moment, the partners of the company include Lafarge Africa PLC, Nigerite and Wema Bank PLC. 8 subsidiaries, among others, are Lagos Airport Hotel Limited, Wema Board Estate Limited, Premier Hotel, as well as E&O Power and Equipment Leasing Limited.
Arkview Investments Limited, one of Nigeria's leading real estate companies, has unveiled its latest estate in the Ibeju-Lekki area of Lagos. Tagged Idera Treasure Estates with its focus on a mixed development scheme, the Chief Executive Officer of the company, Mr. Segun Oshunairo, is inviting buyers and investors to take a piece in this fast-growing area of the Lagos metropolis. A plot of land in the scheme, however, sells at 16 million naira.
The Idera Treasure Estate, located in Ibeju-Lekki, is the latest project from the stable of Arkview Investments Limited, one of Nigeria's leading real estate company.
We want our presence also to be felt in Ibeju-Lekki on the highland. You know, most of in the industry, they see us as the mainland champion, but now we are coming to the highland to also play the game. We are also coming up, you know, to take over. Yes.
With its niche of providing affordable homes, the company is here to turn the sun for its 19 estates, 2 years after the scheme was conceived. With 20 hectares of land translating to 300 plots of dry land, Arkview Investments says potential buyers are investing in an area of Lagos that is fast developing as well as a good neighborhood.
This actual project is a mixed development. Okay, we have the Artican, the Century project by the Anglican Church just around the corner. We have the new airport, which is less than 7 minutes drive. So you can have your hotel.
One of the benefits of a government scheme is that the title is settled. It's a perfect title, no encumbrance, and it comes with that peace of mind. Of course, if you want to get a proper title on the property, you approach government. Now government is giving you that title, so that in itself gives that assurance that you're buying a safe property.
For the brand ambassador of the real estate company, veteran actress Ido Philip, her call, translated from Yoruba language, is "Come buy from a piece of comfort."
If you buy a property here, you've bought peace of mind. Arkview is a topmost company, and we're not involved in fraud. In our 11 years of operation, whatever you request of us is what you get.
Arkview Investments Limited, an 11-year-old real estate company, says it is customer-focused and will continue to provide affordable housing through a flexible payment system in a serene environment.
Let's segue into more business news. Here's Teniola Shivawali.
Thanks a lot, Amarachi. Welcome to Business News. A total of 680.78 billion naira has been shared as Federation account revenue for May to the federal government, states and local government council areas. This is contained in a statement issued at the end of a meeting of the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee held in Abuja. A breakdown of the revenue distribution shows that the federal government received 229.56 billion naira, state governments got 241.82 billion naira, local government councils received 175.94 billion naira, while 33.45 billion naira was shared with the relevant states as 13% derivation revenue. The Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited has reiterated its commitment to supply 100% of its liquefied petroleum gas production to the domestic market. The Deputy Managing Director of Nigeria LNG Limited, Mr. Olalekan Ogunleye, who made this known at a summit, says the move aims to support the growth of LPG utilization in the country. And now the equities markets closed the final trading day in the week in the green as investors continue bargain hunting in value stocks. Will Ibong has the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Let's jump right in. The NGX rised the bull to a positive close in the final trading session of the week. A slight rise today, 0.17%, but a gain nonetheless. And this is thanks to MTN Nigeria, Zenith Bank, and Honeywell Flour, despite the negative market breadth. 12 stocks gained against 18 losers. Champion Breweries took the spotlight on the gainers chart, hitting a 10% gain to close at 3 naira 74 kobo, while livestock feeds got the shortest end of the stick today. Looking at the sectors, consumer goods still unchanged from its negative status yesterday, fell 0.56%. Banking stocks managed to sustain gains from yesterday, while oil and gas had a reversal of fortune. It was dragged down largely by O&O. Investors are selling off there, bringing it to lead top trades by volume. So an almost flawless victory for the bull, except for the pullback on Monday. And we look forward to more wins. And that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Willie Bong. Back to you.
And that's Business News tonight. It's back to Amarachi.
President Muhammadu Buhari is taking part in deliberations at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda, where he's scheduled to deliver a speech at an intergenerational dialogue for youth. The president would also attend other high-level meetings with heads of state and government over the weekend. And in the United States, the Supreme Court has overturned its 50-year Roe v. Wade decision, paving the way for individual states to ban abortions. President Joe Biden described the decision as a tragic error and called on states to enact laws to allow it. In the meantime, the U.S. Senate passed a gun control bill, the most significant firearms legislation in nearly 30 years. Simon Pusey has more.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The US Senate has passed a gun control bill, the most significant firearms legislation in nearly 30 years.
The yeas are 65, the nays are 33. The motion to concur with an amendment is agreed to.
It imposes tougher checks on young buyers and encourages states to remove guns from people considered a threat. In a rare bipartisan breakthrough on gun control measures, 15 Republicans joined Democrats in the Senate to approve the bill. President Joe Biden urged a quick vote on the bipartisan bill, despite it falling far short of his demands.
Democracy is not so broken that it is unable to rise to the moment.
Gun control activists and most Democrats would also like to see far more stringent measures on gun control.
This is not a cure-all for all the ways gun violence affects our nation, but it is a long overdue step in the right direction. Passing this gun safety bill is truly significant, and it's going to save lives.
Ukrainian forces have been ordered to withdraw from the city of Severodonetsk. That's according to the top regional official. The eastern city has endured weeks of bombardment as Russian forces try to take complete control of the region. Luhansk, a mainly Russian-speaking region in East Ukraine, is a key priority for President Vladimir Putin. Together with the Donetsk region, it makes up what is collectively known as the Donbass, a large industrial area which has been the focus of a Russian-backed separatist movement since 2014. The Taliban's deputy chief has appealed for international aid as he surveyed the devastation left by an earthquake in eastern Afghanistan this week. Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, India and the United Arab Emirates have all said they plan to send aid. Supplies from Pakistan have already crossed the border. An official said Afghanistan does not have enough medical supplies to treat the injured from the earthquake that killed over 1,000 people this week. An aftershock on Friday killed 5 more people. More than 400 sub-Saharan African migrants have tried to storm the border of the Spanish enclave of Melilla in Morocco. It's the first such attempted mass crossing into the territory since Madrid and Rabat resumed diplomatic ties in March. The authorities in Melilla said a significant number of migrants managed to get in. The diplomatic crisis came to an end after Spain supported Morocco's autonomy plan for the disputed region of Western Sahara. Thousands of Greek pensioners have protested in Athens as soaring prices have taken a toll on households in the country. Like many other EU countries, Greece has been gripped by spiking electricity, gas and fuel costs, a trend exacerbated by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and its curbing of gas flows to several countries in Europe. One of the lowest income groups, pensioners, are asking for rises in pensions as they struggle with escalating costs. Electricity bills have skyrocketed and supermarket prices have increased by as much as 30%. Prince Charles has expressed deep sorrow over slavery in a speech to Commonwealth leaders in Rwanda and acknowledged that the roots of the organisation lay in a painful period of history, alluding to the slave trade and colonialism. Charles told assembled Commonwealth leaders at the opening ceremony of a 2-day summit in Kigali that he couldn't describe the depths of his personal sorrow. The Commonwealth is a club of 54 countries, most of which are former British colonies, and presents itself as a network of equal partners with shared goals such as democracy, peace and prosperity. However, it has not dealt publicly with the legacy of colonialism or slavery, despite there being increasing calls for it to do so.
I want to acknowledge that the roots of our contemporary association run deep into the most painful period of our history. I cannot describe the depths of my personal sorrow at the suffering of so many.
And finally, thousands of A Coruña residents in northern Spain have gathered at Orzan and Riazor beaches for the midsummer festival known as San Juan. The celebration sees people jumping over bonfires to scare away evil spirits. The traditional festival, often known as St. John's, falls on the night of the 23rd to the 24th of June, when, according to the Bible, St. John the Baptist was born. The pagan rituals include building bonfires and jumping over them as purification to get rid of evil spirits and as a form of protection from fire for the rest of the year. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Super Falcons coach Randy Waldrum has picked 25 players to represent Nigeria at the 12th Women Africa Cup of Nations taking place in Morocco. The squad list is an interesting blend of youth and experience, with veterans Tochukwu Oluehi, Captain Onome Ebi, Rita Chikwelu, Osinachi Ohale, Francisca Odega, and Ngozi Okobi Okeogene making the list. Youngsters like defender Ashley Plumpter, Nicole Payne were included, while there was also space for the likes of Michelle Alozie, Regina Otu, and forwards Vivian Ikechukwu, Gift Monday, and Ifeoma Onumonu. Nigeria's Flamingos have been drawn to play Germany, Chile, and New Zealand in Group B of the 2022 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, scheduled to hold in India. The Flamingos will begin their campaign against Germany on October the 11th at the Pandit Nehru Stadium in Goa. The Flamingos will then face New Zealand on October the 14th at the same stadium, before playing Chile on October the 17th at the Kalinga Stadium. And that's a wrap on Sports News. I'm Victor Matthias. Thank you for watching. It's back to Amarachi.
Thank you, Victor. The traffic situation on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, it's a day this evening. There it is, owing to the ongoing reconstruction of the road, particularly between Berger bus stop and the old toll gates. Motorists coming into Lagos are being delayed on that axis as a result of the construction work. Motorists plying the road believe it will be helpful for relevant traffic management authorities to deploy to the area and help ease the bottleneck. And hopefully it's all cleared out tonight. And the main news again. The Supreme Court today struck out the suit filed by the President and the Attorney General of the Federation against the National Assembly, challenging the legality of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. The Apex Court held that allowing the suit to have its way amounted to abuse of court process. That is the news at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Good night. Enjoy the weekend.